All right, everybody strap in.
I'm ready.
Hamish, thanks for waiting.
How you doing?
Oh, we can't hear you.
Yo, can barely hear you.
Oh,
I heard you for a
Hello?
moment. Hello?
There you are.
You've got to turn off your stream. I'm hearing the echo delayed, so turn off your stream and listen to the phone or whatever device you're using.
Yeah, mute. You'll need to mute your PC or whatever.
it is done.
All right. What have you got for us this week?
I call in to discuss a topic which has been deeply disturbing me, especially recently in light of the...
We're having a very hard time to hearing you. You're fading in and out, so if you can just kind of get to the question, that'd be useful.
Do you think that Islam is the worst religion?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say. So one of the things is if you do a study, for example, of, let's say, and there was recently a study done of the Quran versus the Bible advocates more violence and contains more violence. So if you went back to just the holy books and said which one is worse, well, you could use that as a way to judge it. Quite frankly, we were more likely to judge it based on the actions of its adherents and what kind of society results when adherence to that is put into power. And so with Islamic regimes being pretty much the only theocracies, looking at where those things are in place, they don't tend to be societies that are very progressive or value human life. We certainly have a lot of terrorist action coming from those, the more fundamentalist aspects of those religions, but you can't. You could also make a case that, okay, which religion currently has the greatest power base and is likely to take over the world, in which case I would say that religion might be judged the most dangerous. And I don't know that that's easy to determine, because while it's true for Islam in many areas, it's not true everywhere. And we can't really predict the future, because it may be the case that we would allow a religion to become pretty bad, and the second it tries to step just a little further over the line, there's a massive backlash to it. But based on religions in practice, the one that I think is most directly harmful to both its adherents and its detractors is probably Islam in various forms.
Do you find, as I find, that there is a great problem with the regressive left?
I don't even really know what the regressive left is. Sometimes I get labeled regressive left, sometimes I don't. There are a number of, I'm getting ready to do a number of videos kind of covering topics like this, but I don't know what it has to do with this TV show.
Yeah, I think that the term regressive left is just a dog whistle. It doesn't really, the people who use it never explain exactly what is being regressed from or regressed towards.
I can explain.
Additionally, you might have a problem with a certain ideology in one area. Like somebody asked me the other day, what religion represents the greatest threat? Well, I'm not going to say Islam. Worldwide, it may be Islam. It's not the greatest threat in Austin. It's not the greatest threat in Texas. It's not the greatest threat in the United States, because there isn't a sufficient power base here. You know, you're talking about occasional massive terrorist actions, yes, but when you look at the sort of Christian terrorism that occurs, where you have abortion clinic bombings and things like the KKK and stuff, well, the KKK is pretty much irrelevant, except for when they're supporting candidates.
Yeah.
But
we've seen an emboldening of that aspect of American culture recently.
When we're talking about which religion is most likely to affect my rights and the rights of people close to me, geographically, Islam has pretty much negligible impact and serves negligible risk to my rights. When we're at a point right now where we're dealing with, a woman's right to bodily autonomy, I'm more concerned about what's going on in the Supreme Court than, with Al-Qaeda or Hamas or whoever you want to point to as a potential threat. That's not true everywhere. There are other places where it clearly represents the biggest threat.
I just think the history of the human race is one in which you can clearly see anytime religion has inordinate political power, it results in great harm. Right now we've got Islam, I think, unless I'm much mistaken, those are the only active theocracies right now in the world, like actually running countries.
I'm not positive. Well,
not sure.
perhaps active, but most countries have a state religion. So,
but in terms of like being theocrat, that's different from like an actual theocratic society. I would say like having a state religion doesn't necessarily mean a theocracy. But you know, but if you look back at 16th century Spain or most of medieval Europe, when those were Christian theocracies, and they were extremely cruel cultures as well. So I think just the idea is this is why we need separation of church and state, and we need to always curb.
Hamish, you're really breaking up and difficult,
really
but try. Go ahead.
We are talking about modern time.
Yeah, I was talking about modern time.
Yeah.
Very well. I do have one thing to say.
We're not getting you, Hamish. We're not hearing you.
I heard his phone buzz.
Yeah.
Last chance.
Yeah. Oh well.
Goodbye.